Jess. I'm a junior at Penn, and this is my testimony. Um, so, throughout my life, the Lord has always been revealing His goodness and faithfulness to me, even before I was aware of it. I grew up in a non Christian family, but my mother always sent me and my sisters to church with a close family friend to learn not about the gospel, but about the ethical and moral lifestyle of Christianity so that we'd grow to be good and proper people. And hopefully we did. I attended church and went through the Christian process all the way up to the end of elementary school, but I didn't absorb anything or feel anything move in me. When middle school started, I stopped going, spending less and less time with our family friend as our individual lives got busier and busier. If there existed any connection with God, I thought it was the end for sure. In times of loneliness and helplessness, I prayed to some divine figure, if there existed one, to just help me and guide me towards the right path. Sometimes my prayers were answered and some weren't, so I always attributed them to fate or coincidence. Little did I know God was intentionally placing people in my life that would bring me closer to Him. Some of the strongest friendships I have now began in those years when they began to walk alongside me in this journey towards Christ. Only God could have known that these friendships would slowly build into something so deep and so great. Throughout middle school and high school, I mostly had the same group of friends and didn't make much of an effort to meet new people. Any new friends I made were mutual friends of my circle of friends, so I didn't find a need to exercise my social befriending skills. When college came, I struggled to open up to people and make new friends. I was judgmental, and first impressions mattered a great deal to me. So in the end, I had a lot of acquaintances, but very few friends. My grades weren't stellar, and I just felt like a lonely, mediocre person in a sea of social geniuses. I had wanted to attend Penn for the longest time, but I was starting to doubt whether I belonged at the social ivy. In an effort to find some kind of community, I went with a friend to the off-campus church she was attending at the time, and there I began to explore a possible relationship with God. Over the next few months, I struggled to consistently attend church and build a deeper connection with the Lord. I didn't notice any apparent changes in my life, so I didn't think God was the answer to my problems. But God found a way to bring me back. Not wanting to give up on Him quite yet, I decided to search for an on-campus church. Having heard about GCC from some people at the church I was attending, I wanted to check it out for myself, but I was always too scared to go. Weeks went by before I finally had the courage to go to a Friday service by myself. As an introvert, I never felt more anxious and nervous about something, so much so that I called my friend back at home and prayed about the entire day. That night, God gave me the courage and the voice to open up and meet so many kind and welcoming people. My judgmental self was pushed aside, and I experienced the fullness of God's faithfulness and deliverance. Since I was 5 years old when I first attended church, I had known about the gospel story, that Jesus, the sinless and perfect God, Son of God, died on the cross in the place of man to pay the price of sin, to forgive man's sins, and to put man in the right relations with God, so that man could have a new and eternal life with God. But that night, I could finally replace the word man with I, my, and me. I realized that all the events culminating to that night wouldn't have happened without Jesus. Through Jesus, God accepted and loved me despite my imperfections and brokenness. Whenever I look back on these last 15 years, I am so in awe of God's perfect timing and the ways in which He chooses to reveal things to me. God's love and faithfulness rescued me from my loneliest of times and allowed me to build a relationship with Him and His people. From my placement in the family group Hesed, which is the Hebrew word meaning steadfast love, to attending my first church conference and retreat, and to all the people I've befriended these past few months, I'm constantly reminded of His presence, His steadfast love, and His faithfulness. Though I know the walk here on won't be easy, I'm excited for the ways that God will continue to work in me, even if I don't know it. And the verse I chose that suited my testimony was Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Thank you.